let's take a look at our third and final method for solving systems of equations. This method is called elimination because our goal is to eliminate one of the variables. So just like substitution, we are going to go one step at a time with an example because I think that will keep you less overwhelmed. So let's take a look at step number 1 and jot down some little additional notes. We're going to multiply one or both equations by a constant. A constant is just a whole number. So the one pair of variables has, here's kind of the confusing part, opposite coefficients. What that means is the numbers in front are opposites. We like opposites because opposites cancel. Our goal is to make one pair of letters opposites. It can be either the x's or the y's, and we'll do one of each so that you guys can see what we mean. So let's look at that for the first example. You have a wide open decision here. The first thing you decide is, do I want to cancel my x's or cancel my y's? For the first example, I'm going to cancel the x's. So if I look at my x's, right now I have a 2 and a -3. To be opposites, they have to be exactly the same, only one positive and one negative. And they aren't. 2 and 3 are different. So what we have to think now is 2 and 3 both go into what number? Because we're going to make them both bigger. What can I make them both into that's the same number that's bigger? And that answer is 6. One of them is going to be a +6. One of them is going to be a -6. That involves multiplication. 2 times what number gives you 6? That answer is 3. I'm going to put it outside of parentheses because parentheses mean multiply. -3 times what number gives you -6? Well, that would be 2. Make sure they're going to be opposites. 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 times -3 is -6. Those are opposites. Now, we're actually going to do the multiplying. Okay, we want them to have opposites. So watch. I'm going to work this way. I'm going to multiply 3 to all 3 numbers. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times -6y is -18y. And 3 times 19 is 57. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom. 2 times -3x is -6x. 2 times +2y is +4y equals 2 times 10 is 20. That's the first step. Make sure they're opposites. If you look at the x's, 6 and -6 are opposites. Step number 1 is done. Step number 2. You're going to add the 2 new equations together. One variable should be gone, and solve the remaining equation. So the key word here is add. We learned in elementary school when we add, we put a big old bar underneath. 6 plus -6 cancels. -18 plus 4 is -14, keep the y. 57 plus 20 is 77. That's the adding. We still need to solve this equation, which is very easy. Divide by -14. Those cancel. we get, keep the y, we get y equals 77 divided by negative 14 gives you negative 5.5. That is the end of step 2. Step 3, substitute the answer from step 2 into one of the original equations and solve for the remaining variable. So keyword here is substitute. I am going to plug this answer into either one of these equations. I'll show you as we go through examples that both of them work. I'm going to put that number in the first equation where I see the letter y. So 2x minus 6, here's the y, so parentheses negative 5.5 equals 19. Put up your line. First thing we're going to do is our multiplying. So keep the 2x, negative 6 times negative 5.5 is positive 9 equals, I'm sorry, that's not positive 9. I can't multiply, it's positive 33. Equals 19. Time to solve. Subtract 33. That leaves us with 2x equals negative 14. Put that in your calculator. Divide that by 2. We get x equals, if you divide those, you get negative 7. Look back at the last step. State your solution. We have one option of x, y. And then we have, again, the specialty cases. These are, again, when all variables cancel. No solution is still false. Infinitely many solutions is still true. This problem, though, has an answer. So we're going to write our answer. X comes first, negative 7. Y comes second, negative 5.5. Most students tend to like this method better than substitution. So let's try another one together. So we are going to focus this time on canceling the y's, because I told you I wanted to do one of each, so you at least got some practice. So let's look at just the y's. We have 3 and 5. Are those opposites? No. So then we ask ourselves, 3 and 15 can both go into what number? And that answer is 15. So we're going to change them into a positive 15 and a negative 15. A question always comes up, does it matter where the positive and negative is? The answer to that is no. If you want the top one always positive and the bottom one always negative, that's fine. 3 times what gives you positive 15? Well, that would be 5. And 5 times what gives you negative 15? That would be negative 3. Since these were both positive, one of these had to be a negative. Let's make sure they're opposites. Let's do the multiplying. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times positive 3y is positive 15y. And 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Negative 3 times negative 5x is positive 15x. Negative 3 times positive 5y is negative 15y. And negative 3 times 15 is negative 45. Look at your y's now. Are they opposites? I have a positive 15 and a negative 15. And the answer to that is yes. Step number 2. Add them together. Big old line. 10 plus 15 is 25. This time it's x. Positive 15y and negative 15y, butter cancel. Negative 5 and negative 45 make negative 50. We're ready to solve. Divide by 25 on both sides. We get x equals negative 50 divided by 25 is negative 2. Okay, so what we're going to do now is step 3. That's the substitute step. This time I'm going to plug this into my bottom equation. But since it's x, it's going in place of x. Negative 5, there's your x, times negative 2 plus 5y equals 15. Multiply first. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. Keep everything else. We need to get y by itself, so we got to move the 10 by subtracting. 5y equals 15, take away 10 is 5. Divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Make our pair. Negative 2 comes first because it's x. Positive 1 comes second because it's y. Okay, turn the page. I would like you to try example 3 on your own. You pick which letter to cancel and go to it. Okay, let's see how you did. So I'm going to cancel the x's. I'm going to go back to the first letter. I'm going to cancel the y's because they have smaller numbers. That's a good question. When do we cancel x and when do we cancel y? Here's what I typically do. I look for the smaller numbers. The y's are smaller numbers. I'm going to cancel the y's. So 5 and 4 both go into 20. Now, when I look at this, the top one is already negative. So I'm going to make the top one the negative 20. Negative 5 times 4 gives me negative 20. And positive 4 times positive 5 gives me positive 20. So let's multiply. 4 times 9x is 36x. 4 times negative 5y is negative 20y. 4 times negative 7 equals negative 28. On the bottom. 5 times negative 6x is negative 30x. 5 times 4y is positive 20y. And 5 times 2 is 10. Hopefully you added now. 36x plus negative 30x is positive 6x. Negative 20y and positive 20y cancel. Negative 28 plus 10 is negative 18. Divide both sides by 6. X equals negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3. Hopefully you got the x part right. Let's look at the y part. I'm going to plug that into, I'm going to use the bottom equation because again it's smaller numbers. I'm putting it in place x. Negative 6 parentheses negative 3 plus 4y equals 2. Let's start with multiplying. Negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. Bring down everything else. I need y by itself, so I need to move the 18 by subtracting. I'm left with 4y equals 2 take away 18 is negative 16. Divide by 4. We get y equals Negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. Ready to write our final answer. X is first at negative 3. Y is second at negative 4. Okay. Let's do example 4 together, and then I will let you guys do example 5 on your own. Which ones do we want to cancel? This time I look at my numbers. 6 and 4, much smaller to work with. I'm going to cancel my x's. Now, 6 and 4, you have a couple of options. Some of you think 24, that works. Some of you think 12, that also works. There's multiple options. Okay? If you struggle, here is my hint to you. If you struggle, multiply these two numbers together. 6 times 4 is 24. That will always work. Let's make it a 24. 6 times what gives me 24? Well, that's 4. The bottom one needs to be negative. 4 times what gives me negative 24? Well, that's negative 6. Let's do some multiplying. 4 times 6x is 24x. 4 times positive 15y is positive 60y. And 4 times 9 is positive 36. Let's look at the bottom. Negative 6 times 4x is negative 24x. Negative 6 times negative 10y, or sorry, negative 6 times positive 10y is negative 60y. And negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. Are the x's opposites? Absolutely. Let's add them. 24 plus negative 24 cancels, like we wanted it to. But here's a problem. 60 plus negative 60 also cancels. So we have an equal sign with nothing there. 36 plus negative 48 is negative 12. Well, on the other side, if you have nothing, you can't leave it blank. Nothing means 0. This is a special case. All of our variables cancel. When all of our variables cancel, again, we decide true or false. Is 0 equal to negative 12? No, that is false. When we write false, we also write no solution. All right, you have one last example. Pause your video. Do example 5. Okay, so let's see how you did. So we have x's and y's. Which one has smaller numbers? The smaller numbers are the x's. If you used my hint and you multiplied, 3 times 6 is 18. We're going to make them both into 18s. The bottom one is the negative. 3 times what gives you 18? So that would be 6. Negative 6 times what gives you negative 18? Well, that would be, not negative, that would be positive 3. If the negative is inside, the outsides are both positives. Okay? If the negative is, or if the both insides are both positives, there's one negative outside. Let's check the multiplying. 6 times 3x is 18x. 6 times negative 5y is negative 30y. 6 times 4 is 24. Let's look at the bottom. 3 times negative 6x is negative 18x. 3 times 10y is positive 30y. And 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Are our x's opposites? Absolutely. Ready to add. 18 and negative 18 cancel. Negative 30 and positive 30 also cancel. So we have 0 on the left side, but 24 and negative 24 also cancel. So we have 0 on the right. If everything cancels, you're left with 0 equals 0. Is that true or false? That is true. So we write infinitely many solutions. And we're done with the lesson. And you can start on your homework if you'd like, and we'll see you in class.